They say it takes a village to raise a child, because children need a lot of different people to look out for them. Families can use all the help they can get. After all, no parent is perfect. That's why McCoy leads the Early Intervention and Prevention Initiative. We want to showcase all of the excellent programs in our city that help families learn and grow together. Because when we learn and grow together, we make our village a better place to live. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy this episode of Our Kids, Our Families, Our Communities.
Hello, I'm Latasha Hudson, the Early Intervention Prevention Director for Marion County Commission on Youth. Thank you for watching today's episode of Our Kids, Our Families, Our Communities. Today we'll be talking about youth personal safety. I'd like for my guests to introduce themselves and who they're with.
I'm Tashara Gujabi with the Inner Beauty Program.
Good morning. My name is Kareem Hines. I represent the New Boy, New Breed of Youth Mentoring and Youth Development Program.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Michelle Waymeyer, and I'm a Deputy Prosecutor and the Supervisor of the Marion County Prosecutor's Office Community Prosecution Division.
Awesome. Thank you all for being here. Youth personal safety is important right now, especially with the conditions of our society and youth violence being on the rise. I thought it would be important for us to talk about this topic and to provide our youth with some resources, as well as our viewers, resources that they can contact so that they can maybe be able to find some activities as well as some resources for our youth to protect themselves.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Michelle, you're with the Marion County Prosecutor's Office. A lot of times that has a negative connotation to it, but you all provide free programs to many of our community organizations to help support our youth. So you're actually embedded in the community at different location sites, but your focus is really prevention and helping our youth be able to protect themselves as well as understand the judicial system. Can you tell us a little bit about why you all made the decision to actually put yourselves in the community and to provide these support networks?
Absolutely. We have a multifaceted mission, obviously holding offenders accountable, protecting victims, but we also feel like it's our mission to step outside of the courtrooms and be a part of our community that we represent. In the early 1990s, we moved prosecutors and support staff, paralegals, out into the police districts. We're housed out into the districts. We problem solve and work with the residents and the police officers on those geographic areas. So we've been doing that since the 1990s, and we think crime prevention programming is a very critical part of that.
Absolutely. And you know, New Breed and Inner Beauty just provides positive resources for youth. Can you tell us a little bit about when you first all developed these programs and why you thought they were important right now?
Sure. With New Breed of Youth, being a native of Harlem, New York, my karate class when I came up in New York City was called the New Breed of Youth Martial Arts Program. It's funny how influential things in your younger lives can have an influence on your older life. So my karate program was housed at the YMCA, the Harlem YMCA, and that was my safe haven, the YMCA. It kept me out of trouble, gave me activities to do after school. It also gave me an excuse not to do some of the things, the negative things that my friends would get involved in. I say, hey, I got to go to karate class. So it exposed me to different things, and I always knew that when I got older, I wanted to have the same impact that the YMCA had on me to someone else. I met my mentor, who eventually brought me to Indianapolis at the Harlem YMCA. He used to work for the YMCA, and he eventually moved to Indianapolis, and I followed him. So I know the power of a relationship. Mm-hmm. So when it came time for me to have a mentoring program and have an influence in my community, it was a no-brainer. I named it New Breed of Youth because we really want to create a new breed of youth. And as you mentioned in your opening, there's a lot of chaos going on in our communities, especially with our young people.
Yes.
And we need to provide them with a resources, but also help to create a different culture. Because the culture that they're coming up now with social media and the get quick money, the get rich quick schemes and the gun violence, it's a self-destructive way to live their lives. So we definitely are very purposeful about creating a new breed of youth in our program.
Awesome.
And also just to give the kids a different outlet, a different outlook on self-defense. Self-defense is not only violence. Mm-hmm. You have to use your mental, be mindful, and use your brain on when to use, be physical. You don't always have to be, physical to get out of a situation. you have to think, use other resources outside of being physical.
Absolutely. A lot of times I think our youth get into a situation where they're not really sure how to critically think about it.
Right.
Physical altercation always seems like the way out, but if they can think, listen,
Right.
and then react to whatever's going on, it might put them in a safer place. It might help them to make a better decision. And I think critically thinking about these things are important. And many of your programs develop those skills. They participate in programs where they're learning how to be safe, but they also are participating in programs that's helping them think, to think about their actions, their reaction to things, and also to be more proactive. So, Michelle, tell us a little bit about all these great programs that the Marion County Prosecutor's Office offers to our community organizations.
Sure. We have 3 primary youth-focused programs that we do currently. And all 3 of those programs we like to address kind of the choices and consequences of those choices and encourage kids to make smarter choices so that they don't end up in situations where we have to see them in the court system as prosecutors. That is nothing that we take pleasure in. So one of our programs is our Cyber Safe program, and there are so many kids that are using, and adults that are using social media, and teaching the kids, educating them about the consequences of what they put on social media, the lasting consequences of things that they write, that they post, and the dangers of who's out there on social media and what they can do with the information that is posted. We also talk to them about making smarter choices, about being safer when you're using those different social media applications. So that's the gist of our cyber safety program, and we do that for elementary age students. We do it also for teenagers. So we kind of split those groups up because I think they're using a variety of social media at those different age stages. We have one of the programs that's dear to my heart is our educating kids about gun violence. Obviously, we see our city torn apart by gun violence, and this is a partnership with Eskenazi Health and the police department where we talk to the participants about the medical and legal consequences of gun violence. It's interactive. We talk to them about what happens if they were to engage in gun violence, what happens if you're a victim of gun violence, and the consequences, lifelong consequences that go with both of those. Our third program that we have is a teen dating violence program where we talk to kids about teen dating violence and kind of the warning signs and things they can do in that arena. So we think those are all super important programs focused on our youth. We have one additional program. It's called Choices Not Chances, and it's actually on our website. It's an interactive, it's a decision tree, so it talks about gangs, bullying, and violence. And so you click on, if you want to go into gangs, you click on that, and then it brings up a scenario, which decision you make. Do you make decision A or decision B? This is what would happen if you made decision A. This is what would happen if you make decision B. So that's a website program that we do too.
Awesome, and we'll also show the link for that website on our show today.
Absolutely.
So thank you for sharing that, because I think being able to place yourself in certain scenarios and knowing how to react to those situations is very important.
Right.
And even though it may never happen, which we hope some of the gang violence and youth violence and gun violence may not occur in that person's situation, maybe if they read that scenario, they can understand, how do I react? Tell a trusted adult is always important.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I think that gets lost in our messaging too, is that they're afraid to tell. They need to tell a trusted adult what's going on, what they observe, so that way we can help prevent these things from happening.
Definitely.
Thank you, Michelle. So Kareem and Tashara, tell us a little bit more about the programs you're providing through New Breed of Youth,
Yes.
as well as Inner Beauty.
Well, we on Saturdays, I'm instructing a karate class. We incorporate martial arts and karate. And it's for ages 5 and up, 5 as long as they can use the restroom by themselves.
Okay.
We don't take them to the restroom. But as long as they can go to the restroom by themselves, 5 and up, we're there from 12:30 to about maybe 2:30, 3 o'clock. And it's a great outlet for the kids. It gives them something to look forward to. It's not easy, but it just kind of gets them together, teaches them self-control. Our virtues are self-control, self-confidence, effort, etiquette, just to be mindful of their actions. So while it's self-defense, but it's also teaching them about how to control themselves, their anger, what they, just give them an outlet outside of the, the violence. And so it's a great program. I mean, like I said, we're there every Saturday, and we welcome everybody.
Awesome.
With New Breed of Youth, in addition to the martial arts program, we have a boxing program. We call it Gloves, Not Guns. That also takes place on Saturday at the Faber Car Glick Center, 2990 West 71st Street. And during the week, we have an array of programs that we engage our young men in. On Mondays, we have a sports program. We get all of our young men together during those after-school hours, somewhere between 5 to 8 p.m. We have youth basketball leagues we hold on Monday. Now we're taking advantage of the summertime weather, so we're out in the parks, kickball, volleyball, football, just engaging the young men again, as we keep talking about outlets, just exposing them to something different, putting them in a pro-social, positive, peer-appropriate, age-appropriate environment with mentors who can role model appropriate behaviors, who can role model interactions. And we also use our programs to redirect behaviors, because a lot of times our young men and young ladies are getting into situations where they're with peers, and like you said, the decision making is so fast. They react, as opposed to taking a chance to do the critical thinking. And when you have an adult there that can actually redirect, an adult that they trust, because that's what we're dealing with a lot too in our programs, is we're very relationship based, so we want to build trust with these young men. On Tuesday we have a Real Men Read program, so we get the young men together at the Central Library from about 6 to 7:30, again with mentors, and we allow them to read. We read material that's relevant to them, so no cookie cutter type material. We relate the material that we read to their lives, and a lot of our young men are growing up in the hood and underserved communities, so we might get the lyrics to the most popular rap song and break it down, as long as they are reading something, and then we're helping them comprehend the words, like what Michelle talked about, consequences. I know you hear this, and this is what this rapper is telling you, but what are the consequences of what he's really saying if you make that your life? So we read, but we also help them comprehend what they're reading. On Wednesday, we have a partnership with the Indianapolis Metropolitan High School, and we call it our Leader Circle. We get all of our young men together, and a lot of our young men in the New Breed of Youth program are or have been exposed to the juvenile justice system. So about 90% of the young men have been arrested. They have served some kind of time, whether it be in the Department of Corrections or whether it be the Juvenile Center on 25th and Keystone. So they're all trying to make some positive changes in their life. So at Leader Circle on Wednesday, we address these issues. We address the consequences of their actions, their behaviors, and like you guys alluded to, we want them to understand, if you continue this life, this is the path you'll go down, and what's your plan B? Okay, if this is plan A, what's your plan B? And then what's plan C? What's plan D? We try to give them alternatives. We try to expose them to different opportunities within the community, but also outside of the community. So in addition to the Saturday program, the Monday, the Tuesday, and the Wednesday, we have Fridays. Those are incentive Fridays. So we take the young men on field trips. We have a big college tour that we do at the end of the year. So through the local field trips and the local college tours, they earn the right to go on our big college tour. We just went to Florida in July. We're going to New York next year. So it's a kind of like an all-inclusive program where they get a chance to earn their way on different field trips and different incentive kind of activities that we do.
Awesome. Well, you may not be aware, but you can actually invite the Marion County Prosecutor's Office to come in and do programming at your organization as well. That's how their partnership works. So, one of the things about this show and what is important is that we are trying to allow the community an opportunity to learn about all these great resources, because, we're not just sitting back and letting things happen. We are actually doing things to prevent violence, to create safe environments for our youth, and to help them to develop the skills they need to make good decisions, because it's going to affect their future.
Definitely.
It's definitely going to affect their future. Michelle, we'll be putting the information for all the website and for the Marion County Prosecutor's Office, and we'll also put links on there so that they can access, the information. But, tell us, if I have a community organization, how do I get signed up? Do I just contact you?
Absolutely. We have a variety of ways you can contact us. And it'll be on the information on the screen. We have a main email address for the prosecutor's office. There's a phone number. If you're at a community meeting and one of our prosecutors or support staff are at that meeting, you can talk to them and we can get those scheduled for you. We will travel to any place in the county. We'll do presentations for churches, school groups, boys and girls clubs, you name it. We will do. They're all free, and our staff we just need to coordinate schedules, but we love going out and making those connections.
Awesome. And you all talked about mentoring, how important mentoring is and empowering our youth. You know, how important is it for you to be able to role model the behavior that you're trying to actually show them, as well as the adult men and women that you have involved in your program?
Well, one, the Marion County Prosecutor's Division has come out. They have done presentations at our program for our young men, which is great. Plus, I've made that connection. They've also come out to the inner beauty program. So we definitely look forward to maybe having a more consistent relationship. So I want to make sure we plug that.
Awesome.
For me, I know having a role model, having a dad in my life was huge, but also having my dad allow other men to be in my life. Because sometimes my dad's voice became mute to me because he was just in my ear so much. So having a karate instructor, having a mentor, someone I could go to outside of my dad. But I think the adults knew no matter who I came to, they were all preaching the same thing. They were all trying to lead me in the same direction. Maybe they took a different approach. And that's kind of the approach we take, with our young men. It's one thing to connect with the young man, but we also want to connect with the families. So if there's a dad who's involved, if there's a mom who's involved, we want to make sure that we're letting them know what activities the young men are involved in and how they can support that young man in the activities. We have all types of dinners throughout the year, all kind of recognition type of activity where we can bring their families in. And if these young men get used to their families acknowledging them in a positive atmosphere, as opposed to just going to court, just going to probation meetings, just going to suspension meetings at school and things like that. But if they can see that their families support them in other arenas, I think that's huge. Also having men who have been through what they've been through, men who can connect to them and say, I know where you came from, let me help you not make the same mistakes I made. And they're all gonna wake up. We know whether it be a young lady who's making some bad decisions or a young man, they will wake up, but we're just trying to get them to a position where you wake up earlier than I did. Absolutely. Don't wake up when you're 21 and you have a felony, because life becomes truly hard after that. Yeah, wake up when you're 14 or 15, go through whatever you need to go through, but wake up and understand that school is such a critical piece, to your success. You have to go to school. Some young men and young ladies right now have such a negative stigma attached to school. It's like not cool to go to school. It's not cool to do homework. It's not cool to be on a basketball team anymore. When I was coming up, it was cool to do that kind of thing. So having, I think, adult role models that have been through what you've been through, that can relate to you and establish a relationship. And another thing about the adults, we want to meet the kids down here. A lot of adults, we kind of have an air about ourselves where we want the kids to come up and I'll meet you halfway. These kids were in a whole different culture. We have to go down to where they are and help bring them up. And that's what we try to do in our programs, and we try to educate the families to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Being a mentor and offering mentoring to our young ladies has always been a passion for me because I didn't have a mentor. And I think if I did, I would not have made some of the decisions that I made growing up in Harlem. I didn't have my mother growing up, but I had my father. Having a mother and a father is two different things. So if I had a mentor, I know I would have maybe went a different route in some of my decision making. So being a mentor to me means so much because I've been in some of these girls' places. I've been in foster care. I've been without a mother. I've been with just a father. I've been in the streets of Harlem, but I've overcome that because it's all a choice. And being a mentor is not about preaching, it's about teaching and leading by example. So I have 2 children of my own, so I'm already a mentor.
Absolutely.
They watch everything I do. They see me make mistakes, they see me cry, they see me laugh, but they also see me leading. So being a mentor to me means everything. I can still use a mentor, because we all go through things in life. We all need somebody, no matter where you come from. I come from Harlem, New York, here in Indiana. People say, why are you here in Indiana? Because I don't want to be in New York. I knew at the age of 17, I would not live in New York for the rest of my life. I knew that I would not raise my children in New York when I had them. That was all a mindset. It was a choice. It was my personal goals. So being a mentor is about instilling in our young ladies that you have choices. You don't have to settle. And when you write these goals down, as you attain them, check them off, and you'll feel great about yourself. But it all starts from within. Everything that you do starts from within, having that confidence. Growing up in New York, no, I didn't have confidence because I didn't have a woman to instill in me what that was. I didn't have anyone waking up in the morning, you are beautifully and wonderfully made, Tashara. You can do anything that you put your mind to. I didn't have that. But it came a certain point in time in my life when I had to give it to myself. I had to affirm it for myself, walk it and live it. And that's at today being a mentor to my children or other children, my children's friends, you know, because they, you know, they have friends. And when they bring friends around, you know, the friends look to you as maybe a mom figure. So you still have to lead your children because your children are leading children, and then your children are going to school with so many different other households. So you have to be mindful of everything you do. But my mentor, it starts at home. And it spreads throughout our community.
Absolutely. Michelle,
I
did you
just
have some
wanted,
to add?
yeah, when I was listening to talk about the importance of the parents and the mentors and the role models, particularly for us on the educating kids about gun violence. Even though it's educating kids about gun violence, we welcome the parents or guardians or mentors to sit through those presentations too, if the groups that's hosting us will allow that, because I think it's important for the parents, guardians, mentors to understand the legal consequences and the medical consequences, so that those conversations can carry on at the home or, you know, the church level, or continue past that 1 hour presentation that we do. And we welcome those collaborations, and we want that communication, that dialogue with the parents and the kids.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. And it sounds like, you know, you are doing great work. You know, we're not going to be able to solve all the problems today, but you're planting those seeds. You're building that foundation, and you're providing the youth, as well as the parents and guardians, an opportunity to create themselves a safe environment through your resources. I want to thank you all for being here today. Is there any last comments you'd like to share with our viewers before we end today's show?
Just don't be afraid of our office and contact us. We are glad to be a part of your community.
Awesome. Thank you.
If you're put in a position to have watched this show, act. Don't let it just be, oh, I watched a show and I saw some people talking about some good things. Act, because it starts at a grassroots level. And it's so good to be on here with my sister.
And we are here, and like, this is my brother, and we do this because it's what we love. It's where we come from, and we want to give back. And it comes natural anyway, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, today was just a passionate show. I want to thank you, like I said, once again. I want to thank our viewers for watching our kids, our families, our communities today. And I'll leave you with act, volunteer, get your community organization signed up for the programs through the Marion County Prosecutor's Office. Also, you know, if you're looking for an opportunity for youth, contact New Breed of Youth as well as Inner Beauty. Thank you once again for watching our show.
Thank you.
Thank you.